Even though it's Labor Day, I am here with Motivational Mondays with a splash of money. So today's topic is something that there has been some foreshadowing. Like any good movie, right? In the very early parts of the movie, there's little hints dropped at the end. And so I've been kind of doing that. I've been doing these Facebook Lives for a few weeks now, and there's been a little bit of foreshadowing dropped on you, and it's right here behind me. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about or reveal, have an aha moment around the idea that you have gifts and your mission in this life is to share those gifts with the world. What? Maybe, I don't know where you are on that journey of finding your gifts and sharing your gifts. Maybe you're like, I don't even know where my gifts are, East. I just feel stuck. Or maybe you're like, I know what my gifts are. I just don't know how to share them. So hopefully today I will be able to unlock that for you, have you get a breakthrough on that, because this is something that I'm super passionate about. In fact, this is where I've kind of pivoted, to use the buzzword that's floating around. My pivot is now all about what you see right here. God gave you gifts. Your mission is to share them with the world. And I want to facilitate that if I can, because somebody has done that for me. See, it's the whole idea of, check out Joseph Campbell's work on the hero's journey. So let's start. Let's just dive right in. If you are at the place where you don't even know what your gifts are, then I'm going to ask you to look at your past. One of my coaches, Shonda Sumter, often says, success leaves clues. What could that mean? That means look to your past and look back there to the most horrific times of your life, the horrible, just horrible times of your life, like the hardest times of your life, okay? Those were gifts. Don't ever let any good pain go to waste. Right? It's like, what? Now, at the time, there's a processing that occurs, right? You had something horrible happen to you. You overcame it. Then you processed it. And that is what can be referred to as the hero or heroess's journey, is to go out there, slay the dragons, learn how to overcome something, and then your mission is to help other people overcome that same thing. So what is it for you? Take a moment, look back and like, oh, not that, not that. Well, maybe that. I also want to suggest that our gifts and the gifts that we are called to share with others change over time. One of the things that used to trap me was this idea of like forever. Well, I don't know what my gift is forever, my forever gift. So I wouldn't tether to one. I would be really stuck because I felt like whatever I did, it has to be forever. So I would overwhelm myself. I would overpassionate all over myself until I gave myself permission, and I had the aha moment myself that, you know what, our gifts change over time. You know, our gifts are revealed, and then we share them, and then we learn new gifts, and then we share those. So the first invitation is check out the work by Joseph Campbell, which is The Hero's Journey. And then the next thing is for you to sit and just look at, okay, what are some things that I've overcome that I'd be really, maybe you're already doing it. I know for me, when I looked back in my past, right, success leaves clues. Thank you, Shonda, for that saying. I started to say, well, okay, I've gone through divorce a couple times, and that was really hard, you know. And so how can I help other people find love? And so when I was finding love for myself, I went and I researched all the books, 15, 20, 30 books and methods to manifest and find the love of your life. And I did. And so I put all that together in a book called 21 Days to Love. And I shared that with the world. So there was a time in my life where I was helping other people find true love, right? It's almost like I want to ask you this, okay? What are your gifts? Look to your past. Maybe you have identified with your gifts. You really know that you have found your gift when you can't not share it. What does that mean? Like, what is it in life that you just can't stop yourself from doing? For me, I was in private practice. I was a professor at the College for Chinese Medicine, and people were constantly coming to me for advice on building their practices. What should I do? Where should I move? How should I structure my prices? And I was just giving it away for free. Literally, I couldn't not do it. If I was talking with a student and they were struggling with the practice structure or anything to do with their practice, I couldn't stop myself from pouring into them. And one time, one of my students looked at me and said, "Boy, you're so good at this, you should charge for it." And I thought, ding, 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 maybe I should. And I literally added a service on my website for coaching. And I just thought, well, let's see if it takes off. And look at me now. I've pivoted completely into practitioners. And then, wouldn't you know it, as I've been working with practitioners, thousands of practitioners over the last 10 years, literally, I'm getting people that aren't even in practice coming to me and asking me to help them share their gifts with the world. How can I do that, Issa? I really love doing this, but how can I make a business out of it? I can't stop myself. So what is it that you can't not do? My neighbor is a plastic surgeon. He was over our house the other day just swimming in the pool and relaxing, and he was talking about how he possibly wants to get into coaching and creating programs. I couldn't stop myself. There I go, like a pit bull on my poor neighbor. My husband had to pull me off of him. But again, that's where my gifts lie. I'm really good at it. What are you really good at? What are you doing without even being prompted? What can you not do? Years ago, and remember, I'm going to keep reminding this. It's called an East-Pete. I'm an East-Pete. It can change. Don't be afraid to tether onto something and just go all in on it at this moment in time. And don't have that fear of like, well, what if I don't want to do this in 10 years or 5 years or 5 weeks? It doesn't matter. Right now, be present because it shifts. I started just preparing for this Facebook Live. I started to think of all the gifts that I've shared over the years. Ooh, Lordy, right? The examples of being somewhere where I can't not do something, right? Okay. I was taking a spin class years ago as a way to get back in shape after my second child. I'm just taking spin class and the spin teacher didn't show up and everybody's like, oh no, what are we going to do? The spin teacher isn't here. And I always sat in the back with a hat and was really quiet because even though I had taught spin in the past, I didn't want to teach spin. I just wanted to take spin. So what do you think happened? Everyone's like, oh no, the day's ruined. We can't have our spin class. I stood up and I said, don't worry guys, I'll be right back. I'll go get the microphone. So I went up to the front and I said, can I have the microphone? The guy looked at me, what do you mean? You're not a spin teacher. I said, just give me the microphone. Let me just do this. It was 5:30 in the morning. The guy didn't care. He's like, here you go. I'm tired. Gives me the microphone. I walk in. I taught a spin class. And everyone's like, oh my God, the girl in the back with her hat on, she actually teaches spin class? So they said, can you take over this class? Because the teacher that we have is constantly missing and she's a flight attendant. So I've got her phone number. I texted her and I said, hey, listen, if you want, I'll teach the class for you whenever you're out of town. Just text me and I'll teach it. And I taught that class for free while I went through the process of getting reinitiated in 24-hour fitness and being back on their teacher roster. So that's another thing, a nugget I'm offering you to look and say, what are my gifts and what am I meant to share with the world? What are you doing for free? What are you willing to do for free? What are you just can't stop yourself from doing? For years, it was a stinky. Not because I stink, but because I literally would just put aromatherapy on everything. We were on a dive trip in Australia, and the boat that we were on was a little smelly, if you've ever been on a liveaboard diving boat. And so I was putting aromatherapy on the light bulb in my little cabin with my roommate. And she's like, oh, East, come on. Like, it's nice. It smells a lot better, but you can back off on the aromatherapy. Again, I'm just giving you more examples. You have these examples too. What can you not stop yourself from doing? So it was aromatherapy forever. It was gemstones forever. I'm such a rock hound and I learned so much about gemstones that I just wanted to share that knowledge with others. So I taught classes. I gave them away as gifts to people. It's like your future success has left you clues in your past. So what is it for you, you know? And then same thing with this aromatherapy company. I created aromatherapy blends for myself to use in practice. And my patients and students would say, "Oh, it smells so good. Will you make me some of that? And I'll pay you whatever it costs." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I don't even know where to go with this." So I started making bigger batches of my aromatherapy. And then I don't even know what to charge for this. Okay, how about $5, $10? But then I ended up creating an aromatherapy company from that organic giving of my gifts. All of that is possible for you too. Away for free, and how can you turn that into a business? I mentioned my coach Shonda Sumter earlier. She told me this story that still sticks with me today. There was a woman who was running a home daycare for a number of years, and she had a very successful business running a home daycare. And after about 7, 8 years of running her home daycare, a lot of people started asking her for advice on how they can open up their own home daycare. So she was giving them all the things, checklist, do this, do that, this and that. And her husband said to her, "Honey, like, you're doing this for free. You're giving all these people advice for free, and they're out like making hundreds of thousands of dollars with their home daycare. Like, you can make a business out of that." She's like, "Oh, I could? I don't even know where to start." So she hired a coach, my coach, and my coach taught her how to take all that knowledge, her gifts, which you all have, turn it into a program, which was how to open and successfully run your own home daycare company. And so she recorded herself saying all the things that she kept repeating and telling all these other people for free. She recorded herself one more time, and then she sold that recorded program with the downloads and the handouts and the checklist for $9.97, and she makes over $2 million a year now. She makes way more selling her gifts than she did when she ran her home daycare company. All of that is possible for you. And I have repeated this all over the internet and in my classes, that you have gifts, and there is a way for you to offer them to the world that it's a huge win-win, in that you absolutely are so excited about sharing your gifts and what you're receiving by sharing those gifts. If there's any part of you that's like, "Gosh, I feel like I'm being taken advantage of, I'm doing all this stuff for free," well, nobody's making you do that. Nobody's got a gun to your head making you do that. All you got to do is just shift that or pivot or whatever the word is, but just find a way to create a product or service or an offering that can share those gifts. Let me give you some more examples of my gifts. Remember, I'm going to repeat this. They change over time. It doesn't have to be your end all be all for the rest of your life gift. Okay. I was a chubby child. My parents were constantly trying to put me on diets, telling me I'm overweight. I was a chubby child, and I didn't know how to eat well. I think I had a bowel movement every, week and a half. I thought that was normal until I went to Chinese medical school and realized, oh my God, I eat like crap. And it's not normal to not have a bowel movement every day. And I want to learn more about how I can be healthy. One of my favorite classes in Chinese medical school was nutrition. I geeked out on it. I just like jumped all in on that, and I made myself healthier. I lost weight naturally. I got over all of that old imaging of me being the chubby kid, and I started having bowel movements every day. Imagine that, right? So guess what I did for a very long time? I shared that hero or heroess's journey with others. I helped a lot of people lose weight. I've helped a lot of people get healthier, right? With just little shifts, right? I love helping people feel their best through like food as medicine, or just using food instead of drugs if it's possible. I love doing it. I cannot not do it. If somebody's talking to me, I just start pouring into them on that. So I help people lose weight for a long time. The spin class, the tournament. In 2013, my mom died suddenly. Just texting in the morning, and by noon, I'm getting the phone call that she stopped breathing. She's at the hospital. Your mom is gone. What are you talking about? I was just texting her this morning. This can't be. That was one of the hardest times in my life. I can't even stress that enough. If you've lost a loved one, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. It rips, especially a parent. It rips the roots out of your life. It's like hits you deep to the core. And it was one of the hardest things that I ever did. That was 2013. And one of the things that I enrolled in to help was called the Grief Recovery Method. It was a 7-week method, and it was so hard for me to go to that many weeks, because it's a 7-week program, I would sit at home and tell my husband, he was my boyfriend and fiance at the time, I'm not going, and he would make me go. Thank goodness he made me go, because it was the one thing that really helped get me out of that. So that was 2013. Years went by, and I started to feel this little tap on my shoulder, like, maybe you should help other people get through grief. And I was like, oh no, I can't, because if I start to talk to somebody about grief, it releases more grief that hasn't been fixed in me. I can't do that. There's no way. I can't do it. I can't do it. So I said, no, not now. And then that little tap got louder, until I couldn't not do it. So I went and I enrolled in the training program to be a trainer in the grief recovery method. Again, see, I didn't do it right away. Sometimes your gifts need time to be nurtured and to grow and evolve. And so in 2020, or I think it was 2020 or late 19, I went and I got certified to be a grief recovery method specialist and do that for other people. You see, one of the hardest times in my life was losing my mom and the grief that caused. And I was able to get over it in such a way, in such a powerful way. I wanted to share that process with other people. So if you look at the notes from today's, I am offering a grief recovery method program in October. I'm going to offer it twice a year, in the spring and in the fall. And my next one's in the fall, and it's free. If you want to donate something, donate. If you don't, I want to share this process with you. Okay, so I have some free things that I offer, or donation based, and then I have a 2-day program creation intensive workshop where we meet in person, and that is fee-based. That is an example of me wanting to help other people create a program, a course, a online service, passive income, whatever it might be. Maybe you want to write a book. The idea is to take your gifts and share them with the world. And one of the ways I found that to be successful is if we remove all distractions from your life, and I put you in a room for 2 days, we roll up our sleeves with your laptop, and I sit there and I am that facilitator of bringing out what your gifts and how you want to share them. There's so many ways you can share your gifts through a book. You can share your gifts through coaching. You can share your gifts through a digital product. You can share your gifts through a product. You can share your gifts through a course. There's so many ways to share your gifts. And that's one thing that I'm passionate and committed to and would love to help you with. Okay. What else have I done in terms of, look to your past, look at some of the most difficult times in your life, and then turn it into a gift. Don't let any shitty situation go to waste. Get over it, and then teach other people how to get over it, right? Pay it forward, right? What did I write here? Got over that. Oh, yeah, burnout. There was a time in my practice, and tell me if you can relate to this, where I just felt I wanted to give up. I don't want to be in practice anymore. I don't want to help people anymore because I'm pouring my heart and soul out to them, and I can't even buy a condo. This sucks. I can't pay off my student loans. This sucks. And the reason is I had an issue with charging appropriately for the value of my services. So instead of staying there and arguing for limitations, I said, I'm going to need help in this regard. And so I went and I got several different resources of help, right? One of the things I hear people say all the time is, I've tried everything. No, you effing haven't. No, you haven't. You have not tried everything. I won't listen to that, because the world is infinite. It's infinite, and the possibilities are infinite. And so for me, and I'm showing up for this lecture on myself as well. No, I never say I've tried everything, because that's not the truth. And you just keep trying things until something gives you that breakthrough. Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes you have a quick breakthrough and you think, oh, my breakthrough should be so quick. I should just need to hire one person and get it fixed overnight. Nope. No, that's not how it works. Sorry. Okay. So that's one of the things too, is I really had to get over that. And I now sit in a space of, and I want to offer you this language. We talked about this last week, the power of your language. I give wonderful services and product for wonderful pay. You give wonderful services and or products for wonderful pay. You do. And if you're like, no, I don't, you got to fix it. Yeah. Don't wait for somebody else to fix it for you. You have to take action. Even in the Bible, God is telling you, I will totally give you everything you want, but you have to take the action. Okay? Turn your gifts into money and blessings for others. Right? So you sit with yourself and you're like, well, okay, East, you know what? I feel like I do have a few gifts. I'm really good at helping people do X, Y, Z. So I think I'm going to start offering it to people. Oh, what do I charge for that? A lot of times coaches will tell you, you got to make up the prices. The prices need to feel good for your time and energy and effort, right? You give wonderful services and products for wonderful pay. If it doesn't feel like wonderful pay, you got to adjust the price until you go, that feels like wonderful pay, right? Almost feels like, I do a lot of things now in my life that I'm getting paid for, which of course I would give away for free. But I live in San Diego and it's expensive and I can't give things away for free. Plus, we'll talk about this in another Facebook Live, but it's called currency for a reason. It has to keep flowing. I can't just be the one give. I need to be refilled as well. Plus, let me follow me here. Track with me. You identify your gifts. You bundle them into a product, whether that's a service, a book, a product, whatever it is. And then you offer to the world and people start buying it. You're like, oh my gosh, it's almost criminal. Like I would do this for free. This feels so good, right? But you're a blessing on other people's lives. Because of you, somebody doesn't grieve over their son that committed suicide. Because of you, somebody had a baby when doctors told them they can't have a baby. Because of you, their house feels good because you feng shuied it, cleaned it, or painted it in a way that makes them feel amazing and raises their frequency. If you do anything that helps somebody raise their vibration, raise their frequency, you're doing that for the planet, right? That is a blessing on the world. And as you acquire more money, more wealth, you can be a bigger blessing on the world all around. So it's like a triple win. It's just this, it just keeps going and going. Not only are you blessing people with your gifts, you're also being able to bless other people with the money you're receiving from those gifts through charity or tithing. Tithing. Check out the whole thing about tithing. I think it's, I'm going to share it and maybe at a next Facebook Live about tithing and what that does, the magic of that. And I have a resource for you on that. But I want to just keep this one really short and sweet, which it's not short anymore. Hopefully it's sweet. You have gifts. I know you do. Everybody on this planet has gifts. Everybody on this planet. And it's our jobs to discover what those gifts are and give them to the world. Your gifts could be being an amazing mom or dad to some children. Just that. Just being there for those kids. Loving on those kids raises the frequency and vibration of those children and ultimately the planet. I know in myself, there's been times in my life where that was my gift, was just being a really awesome mom. And there was times where I thought that was too little. That's too little. And I had to tell myself, stop that kind of thinking. During the pandemic, when I wasn't able to interact with people, practitioners, or the public as much, I went all in on my kids. And there was a time where I thought, oh, this just isn't enough. And I was reminded, this is absolutely enough. This is that's a powerful gift to be a good parent. How many of you had shitty parents? Right? And now you're changing that ancestral line. And here I go. I cannot stop myself from cussing. You can tell I'm getting excited or passionate. This is the real me. I sweat through my armpits and I start to cuss. Okay? I can't not do it. So I cannot not help you share your gifts with the world. What are they? If you want help with that, reach out to me, reach out to your friends. Most likely, people are telling you what your gifts are and you're poo-pooing them. No. If more than 2 or 3 people independently have told you something like, you should do this, and you're not listening, how else is God going to speak to you? For years, I used to take aerobics, step aerobics, you know, and those like body suits that went up your butt like a G-string, you know, and the tights and the whole 80s thing. And I used to take it. And I had a friend come to me and say, East, you should teach. I was like, teach? I can't even keep beat. Like, what are you talking about? Have you watched me do step class? So I said, poo-poo. And then another person said to me, God, East, you know, you'd be a really good fitness teacher. I'm like, what? Have you seen me? Like, poo-poo. By the third time somebody said this, independent people, I said, all right, I'm listening. And for me, the hook was that I'd get a free membership. All right. So if that's how God gets your attention, that's fine. God was fine with that. So I said, hey, wait a second. I can get a free membership if I teach fitness. I'm in. Let's do it. Right. So I went, I learned how to teach fitness. And you know what? I've been teaching fitness since 1998. And it's one of the biggest blessings on my life. The biggest blessings on my life, not financially, but just for myself and being able to pour onto people, help people build confidence in themselves and in their bodies. The transformations I've seen in people's lives by teaching fitness. I taught kickboxing for a number of years, and I help people just feel stronger and more confident in their bodies, physically, mentally, emotionally. That's really what I am. I'm mind, body, spirit, success. And you're going to see that on my new TikTok. So on September 23rd, one of my buddies, my friends, Sean Webb, check him out, Mind Hacking Happiness. He is going to do a masterclass. It's all aligned with what I'm talking about. He has such a gift for helping people organize their thoughts and emotions so that they don't sabotage themselves, that he created a program called Mind Hacking Happiness. And it's very inexpensive at the moment. I highly recommend it. It's a fabulous program. I've done it. But on this whole idea of like the gifts oozing out of you, I met Sean at the Monroe Institute. We were taking a week-long training, and Sean was talking about all of his gifts, and I couldn't stop myself. I was like, Sean, I need to get you in front of more people. He's like, okay, you know, enough. But he was interested enough to listen to some of the things that I had to say in terms of creating live events. He'd never done that before, or retreats, or this and that. So we really had a good time, and we've kept that conversation going for almost a year now. And he started to tell me about how to get on TikTok, because he has like 1.2 or 1.1 million followers. That's it. He just has 1 million followers on TikTok. And so I said to him, hey, Sean, you've mastered TikTok. So in his hero's journey, can you help me master TikTok? So he started telling me what I needed to do. And I said, stop right there. Instead of me being greedy and holding all this information to myself, will you do a 2-hour webinar with me where you tell me what I need to do to get 1 million followers on TikTok, and we share it with everybody? And he was all in. He's like, East, I love that idea. So on September 23rd, Sean Webb is going to tell you how to get at least 1 million followers in a year. Now, let's say you don't get your 1 million followers and you only get 500,000 followers. Oh, bummer for you. Right? Why else am I doing the TikTok challenge September 23rd? Do I really want 1 million followers? Nope. It's a challenge, and it's stretching me, and it's scaring me, and it's taking me into new realms. And so that's what I leave you with. That will be another Facebook Live on stretching yourself, scaring yourself, challenging yourself, and leaning into what you don't want to do, what you're resisting, right? So what are your gifts? First thing, find out what your gifts are. Look to your past. Success leaves clues. What were your hardest moments? What are you just innately really good at? What are people constantly coming to you for advice? And how can you turn that into a program or a product or a service? And then do it. You got to take action. I can help you do this in 3 steps. Come to my 2-day program or your gift creation in October. Space is limited. It's already filling up. It's live in person, Del Mar. We're going to have a lot of fun. Our last one was amazing. Or come to my TikTok, the masterclass. All of this is in the notes. All of it's on my website. And with all of that being said, until I see you next week for the next Facebook Live, Motivational Mondays with a splash of money, I really, really, really hope you'll look at your gifts and how you can share them with the world. Because guess what? There's so many people waiting for them. Right now, there's somebody praying for your gifts. So you need to answer that prayer. by sharing. All right? Hope you have a wonderful Labor Day weekend, and I'll see you in a week.